Hello everybody and welcome back to Very Biased Opinions. It's another round of League One predictions. We are getting right down to the crunch now. It is week 43. It's a midweek round of games. Stick around to the end where we're going to talk about a plucky young outfit that are found their way into the playoffs. But we start with the biggest game maybe of the season. It is Hull City versus Sunderland.
Hull City have been absolutely fantastic for the last couple of months, if not the entire season. They're sitting top of the table on 82 points. They have played a game more than Peterborough, but their goal difference is supremely better than Peterborough. So even if Peterborough win their next game, Hull sit top. Sunderland, on the other hand, coming off 3 straight losses, 71 points. They're definitely not going to win the league this year. It doesn't look like they're going to qualify an automatic promotion. But this is an absolutely mammoth game for both sides.
Yeah, it's huge. Hull and Peterborough look like they're going to go up now, don't they? So it's just a shootout between who gets the top spot. They have been in great form. It wasn't an easy way. I mean, it was a Hull-type performance where they played well and they dominated it. But they did actually get a little bit lucky against Fleetwood. They were a goal down, and Fleetwood had a really unlucky goal, second goal ruled out for offside. But they did come back to win with an amazing goal by Lewis Potter to get them over the line in that one. And as you said, they got better goal difference than Peterborough. Sunderland, why do they do this to themselves every single season? It's going to be playoffs now, so they've got to run the gauntlet of that. They'll take some solace in the fact they've already won at Wembley once this season, but it's lottery. It's the cliche, but it's going to be the lottery of the playoffs for Sunderland. But this is a game where they could appease the fans and get them back on side by getting rid of the bad run and going to top of the table and putting in the sort of performances they were doing up until they played Oxford and we cursed them with the black spot. So sorry, Sunderland fans. But I think I'm going to go for a classic Sunderland here, Tom. I don't know about you. 1-1.
Well, I've let you go first. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 Hull win. I don't know. They just, having watched them twice against Oxford, they look a class above every time I've seen them. And I think they're just going to squeak out top of the table by the end of the year.
Yeah, it should be a good game, though. Shame. I wish it was on. I don't think it's going to be on TV, but it's a shame because it should be a good one.
Unnamed Football Club versus Pompey FC.
Who's bottom?
I didn't actually know who you were laughing at there, if it was Portsmouth or the Unnamed Football Club. But it's the Unnamed Football Club. They have lost something like 7 in a row. Bottom on 37 points. They are careening out of the league. It is looking really tough for them, but it's also looking tough for Portsmouth on 65 points, equal on points with the mighty Yellows, but below them on goal difference. They've dropped out of the playoffs. Oh, I don't really want to be a fan of either of these teams right now, Ian.
I know. What is going wrong, Pompey? They brought in Oxfordshire's own Temple Cowley brothers, and now all of a sudden they're struggling to score goals. It's weird, but the Unnamed Football Club, or those that shall not be named, are bottom of the league. It is. I wanted them to stay up, but now I just think it's quite hilarious that they probably are going to go down. But if you could do us a favour in this game, it would be very much appreciated. Just for one game, if you could do Oxford a favour. Because just turn up for one game only. That'd be great. And but I can't. I'll let you go first. But I will be back in Portsmouth because you're a fool to be backing them lot down the road.
Yeah, I'm going 2-0 to Pompey. I do think the unnamed team are going to turn up in this. I can't see them not. It's just like every time a team plays Portsmouth or Sunderland, they're going to raise their game, but they're bad. They're really bad.
Yeah, they're really bad. And Sheridan's apparently handed in his notice as well. So they're leaderless on the pitch, leaderless off the pitch. And I'm going to go for 3-0 Portsmouth. Rochdale versus Blackpool.
Your beloved Dale sit 22nd. They are 5 points from safety, but they do have a game in hand over both Northampton and Wigan, who are above them. A win wouldn't drag them out of the zone, but it would get them to within 2 points. And they have won their last 2 fixtures, Ian. But Blackpool have been transcendent in the second half of the season. They're sitting on 68 points. They're 3 clear of Oxford, so they're not in the final playoff place, but Oxford in the final playoff place. They've also got 2 games in hand over Oxford, a game in hand over Sunderland, Peterborough, and 2 over Hull. So Blackpool look like the real deal. It looks like they're going to the playoffs this year, Ian.
Yeah, I think it's 17 games without a defeat. The best run since like the 70s they've had. So they're in an incredible run of form. But it's only going to be good enough to get them in the playoffs. So they're going to have to run the lottery as well as Sunderland. Rochdale, they look dead and buried. They've had those 2 wins, but it still looks a mile away for them. Especially when you've got to play Blackpool, who are undoubtedly the form side in the league. It's going to be a tough ask, and you have to just think the Tangerines are going to come and win this one, despite Rochdale kind of playing with a bit of freedom. I think it'll be 3-1 to Blackpool.
Tangerine Matt, we're thinking of you. I'm going 2-0 to the Pool.
Plymouth Argyle
Green Army
versus Charlton Athletic.
Oh, I'm glad Plymouth have survived the year. Plymouth currently in 16th place on 53 points. They are a full 13 points above the relegation zone. They are safe, and as such, their form has curtailed recently. They looked like they might get into the playoffs for a while, but they're really not playing for anything now except survival in the league. Charlton Athletic, on the other hand, have been around the playoff places all season. They have 2 games in hand over Oxford and are only 2 points below them. So Oxford fans are going to be looking to the Green Army. Do them a favour in this game, Ian.
Yes, we need Plymouth to do us a favour all week, really, because we need them to turn up and beat Charlton and then not turn up at the Kassam Stadium so Oxford can roll over Plymouth. So do it, Pilgrims, do it for us. Charlton are just struggling to score goals. They're in a lot of low-scoring games, and I think they had another 0-0 draw against Ipswich, which isn't a surprise because it's another side who just love to churn out 0-0s. So Plymouth, and again, go back to Plymouth, a tricky side to play at home as well. Because I want it to happen, I'm going to go for a draw. 1-1.
Fair. I've got Plymouth to win this 2-1. Fleetwood Town versus Crewe, Alexandra.
Not really too much to say about this one, is there? 2 sides that are going to be safe, but 2 sides that Fleetwood were in pretty good form, but they came up against Hull and already said they were unlucky. Should have gone 2-0 up in that game and maybe could have got a surprise win. Crewe, not going well for them last few games. Obviously, we know they got hammered by Oxford 6-0, but they haven't. I think they've lost the 2 games after that as well, and they haven't scored a goal in the last 3 games. So Fleetwood at home, solid win for them, I think. I'm going to go 2-0 to the Fleet.
I think both these teams are just waiting for the end of the season. I'll go 1-0 to Fleetwood Town. Oh, it pains me to do that. Okay, now's the wonderful time when I remind you all that we have a Patreon. Please check in our description for it. Also, smash the like button, hit subscribe, and keep commenting on these. But I need to give a shout out to our Patreons: David Stenhouse, PJ Simpson, Matthew Bowden, Pessimistic Brother Robert Allen, and Grandstand Betters and Matt Uranka. You guys have been with us. You've paid a really nice fee. You've done everything you could for us. We have wonderful mics and stuff because of you, so thank you so much. If you're enjoying the channel, please do sign up. It's as little as £3 a month, but it does wonders for us. And now it's time for Shrewsbury Town versus Wigan Athletic.
Wigan look like they're going to be safe. And you wouldn't have thought that for the large majority of the season, you wouldn't have thought that. They've obviously been with so many off-the-field problems, and they've been down the bottom of the league pretty much all season. But they've hit form at the right time and had some great wins in there as well, and have pulled themselves, I think, I don't know how many points clear, but I think it's more than a win clear, aren't they? Yeah. Exactly.
4 points.
So, brilliant for them. Shrewsbury are one of those sides that definitely look like they just want the season to be over. They are a good side going forward. From what I saw against Oxford, they play some really good football actually at times, especially their main guy Chapman. He's a great player. But ultimately they don't have a lot to play for. And I can actually see Wigan winning this one as well. Just again, the whole thing, Cottrell's not there. He hasn't been there for such a long time managing them as well. It is impacting all the players. And I think that it's going to be Shrewsbury 1, Wigan 2.
Yeah, really impressed by Wigan's ability to get out of this. We were saying it all season. We thought they were a bit too good to go down if they could keep themselves together, if they didn't let all the off-field stuff affect them. In 3 straight wins. I think we agreed yesterday after the live stream that 3 points was enough to keep Wigan in the league, and they're 4 points clear of Northampton. They have a superior goal difference to everyone but Rochdale, and I don't think anyone sees Rochdale picking up like 8 to 10 points to end the season. They look safe, but I think this will be where they get safe, and I'm going to go 1-0 to the Athletic. Latics, them as well.
Peterborough United versus Gillingham.
So Peterborough, Ian's bet to end top of the league, currently sitting second on 79 points. They do have a game in hand over Hull, but they are 6 behind on goal difference. They've scored 73 goals this season. They've been absolutely phenomenal going forward. They've won 4 of their last 5. They're looking really strong. Gillingham, on the other hand, have just played Oxford United, so you know that they have to go on a losing run from here on out. Every team does it that plays Oxford. They've lost 2 of their last 3 games, Gillingham. They're only scoring as many as they concede. They're on 59 points, a solid 6 away from the playoffs. The playoff dream is probably now over for them. Ian, how do you see this game playing out?
Especially the manner of the defeat as well. And I know, we'll talk about it more when we talk about Oxford, but the fact that they capitulated from a 2-goal leading position to go down 3-2. Peterborough look like they're in great form. They played their game earlier than everyone else on Friday night and beat Northampton. And it'll be interesting to see. I mean, the one thing that Gillingham did is they turned the Oxford game into a game for the large part that they wanted to play, and they dictated the way the game was played. Really slowed it down. I mean, like, I said something like the ball was only in play for like 20 minutes in the first half. It's it's a battle. It's a literal constant battle against them. They will throw balls into the area from any position all game long, and you have to be up for it. I would imagine that Peterborough will back themselves to not get sucked into playing that sort of a game and back the quality that they have, and they've got so much like pace and skill going forward that they'll be confident they can damage this Gillingham side, who are very good defensively. I think it's going to be tight. I think Peterborough will win 2-1. Going first in this game. Sorry.
No, it's absolutely fine. I wasn't going to go 2-1 anyway. I think Peterborough will win this 3-0. I don't know why. I just see them and Hull almost like 2 racehorses at the end of the year, just sprinting to the end. Win-win. So yeah, 3-0.
I think most people see it like that as well. It is going to be very much a gunslinger showdown between Peterborough and Hull. And come on, Posh. Northampton Town versus Ipswich Town.
2 towns I hold very little love for. Northampton Town sit 21st. They're 4 points off safety, as we just mentioned, below Wigan. 40 points. Really poor run of form. They've lost 3 of their last 5. They've conceded 61 goals this season, a second worst goal difference in the league. They have been nothing short of like abysmal for most of the year. The start of the year quite well, and then it's just tailed away. Ipswich Town, on the other hand, they got rid of Paul Lambert, and everyone thought it would be the second coming of whoever came, but it just kind of still crawling to the end of the year. 10 draws, they're on 61 points, they're 4 off the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree. Ipswich, it looks like it's petering out. Paul Cook's the man you're talking about who took over from Lambert, and he's found very similar problems to what Lambert has had. It's a side that it's just labouring in so many games and can't score goals. And another 0-0 draw against Charlton. Northampton, it looks like it finally, it looks like the battle is finally getting too hard for them to overcome. They're not winning enough games. It was a tough game for them against Peterborough. They did well to get back to 1-1, but you talked about their defence. They look very naive. The goals they just conceded, just simple balls over the top from a high line, which allowed Peterborough to just run in behind. This one's going to be low scoring, though. I actually think Northampton might win this game. I'm going to be bold and brave. I'm going to go 1-0 Northampton.
Brazen, Ian. Brazen. But if the league has taught us anything, it's never bet on the favourite in any game ever. So I'm going to bet on a 1-1 draw. Burton Albion versus Lincoln City.
Been a really good return to form for Lincoln. I think that's either 2 or 3 wins they've had in a row now, too. So we really are looking for Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank to once again do Oxford a favour. Really could do with Lincoln City dropping some points. It looked like their season was tail spinning. So it is good to see that Appleton's turned it around. They had a really good thumping 4-0 win over MK Dons, and they backed that out with a 1-0 win against Bristol Rovers, which probably should have been more. This is going to be tough, and I hope Burton win it. But I'm going to let you go first for once.
Yeah, Burton have won 3 of their last 5. They're on 52 points. They're still 12 above relegation, and it was only 2 months ago that we said, Burton are down. There's no point in having this conversation anymore. They're cut adrift. He's worked wonders. He can't be manager of the year, but he's got to be close. They've won 14 matches, and I'm pretty sure like 9 of those have come under Jimmy Floyd. Lincoln, on the other hand, is really good to see Michael Appleton get them back into form. Obviously, it's the city you're living in, but really good to see them not just capitulate out the playoffs. He's done a really good job up to this point. They just hit that poor run of form when the teams below them were all kind of surging up the table. I am going to back a Burton win here. We all know Jimmy is my spirit animal. 2-1 to Burton Albion. What's your score, Ian?
I'm going to go for a draw. I think Lincoln are tough to beat. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. That'll be good enough for me.
Bristol Rovers versus Milton Keynes Dons.
It looks like it's going to be Bristol Rovers going down, and you'll probably be happy with that. But I'm not happy just because of Charlie, who does one Rovers vlogs. Yeah. It's a very disappointing. It's been a disastrous second half of the season, really, and they thought getting rid of their manager and bringing in Barton might at least give them a bit of a honeymoon period where they pick up some points, but it doesn't appear so. They lost 1-0 to Lincoln City. There was a slightly dodgy red card in there, which didn't help them, but you would expect more from a side that's desperate for wins. You expect them to put a bit 100%. More fight on it. This is really this is do or die for Bristol Rovers, this one for me. That if they don't get a win in this one, I think they will get relegated. If they can win it, I think they've still got a sliver of a chance. MK Dons is a tricky side. We know they're mercurial. Sometimes they turn up, sometimes they don't. I'm going to say Rovers will nick it. I'm going to go for 2-1 Bristol Rovers.
Your love for Charlie Haynes betrays you, Ian Allen. I cannot see this Bristol Rovers side getting a win. They're on 38 points. They're only 1 above Swindon Town. They played a game more than Rochdale, who are above them. They're 6 points adrift. It is looking dire for them. MK Dons, on the other hand, have waxed. They've had some weird periods where they've been unplayable. They've had possession and scored goals, and then they've had other matches where they just completely fall apart and capitulate. So you're right. You don't know which side you're going to get. I am going to bet, though, that you get a better side than Bristol Rovers, and I'm going to do the inverse of your scoreline. 2-1 to Milton Keynes.
Yeah, and let's just forget, I did just gloss over the fact they did beat Portsmouth, Milton Keynes Dons, so that was a bloody good result for them. So I am absolutely nuts for backing Christian Rovers. Accrington Stanley versus Doncaster Rovers.
I'm a little bit let down, Ian. I'm a little bit let down right now because Doncaster have won a game and I was really enjoying ridiculing them. So they're on 60 points now. They're in 10th place in the league. They're out the playoffs and they don't look like they're going to get back in them unless they win both games in hand over Oxford United and end the season on a crazy run of form. They're scoring as many as they concede. It's not a great showing on their part. Accrington Stanley, my beloved Stanley, have done even worse than them. From playoffs to 13th, 58 points, their playoff dream is over, but they were safe and secure in the league. They are conceding a significant amount more than they scored, though. And I think Doncaster are going to win this game 2-0. What do you think?
Who did Accrington go and beat, Thomas? Who did they beat a few games ago?
Oxford.
What happens when you beat Oxford?
You lose.
That's what's happened to Accrington. Same thing's happened to Sunderland. They've gone on a bad run because they beat Oxford, and somehow I don't know why this happened, but we seem to curse every side. Yeah. Every side. And Doncaster can attest to that because their curse seemed to last even longer than most sides. But weirdly, it showed you how good Doncaster's first half of the season was, and the fact that this second half has been disastrous. They won one game against Shrewsbury, and all of a sudden those fans will think, if we win our 2 games in hand, we are in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And that is crazy, considering they hadn't won a game for like 10 matches or something.
Yeah, it was nuts. They were losing everything.
I don't see that happening, just because it's difficult to really turn the final form around that drastically. I mean, Shrewsbury weren't that great. Very open when they played Oxford at the back, and Doncaster took advantage of that for once. And I think that I'm going to back Accrington. I'm surprised you haven't backed Accrington, to be honest.
It's because they burnt me for like a month now.
You got to stay loyal, Thomas. You got to stay loyal.
18 times burnt, once removed.
Accrington Stanley 1, Doncaster Rovers 0.
That would make me extremely happy were it to come to fruition, Ian Allen.
Roll that clock back a couple of weeks. We all thought it was over. We were all looking forward to the end of the season where we could get rid of this terrible year without fans and look forward to the next season. But then boom, 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 they roared back. And by the way, I'm talking about Oxford, not AFC Wimbledon. But it is time for the main event.
AFC Wimbledon hosting Oxford United.
Oxford had one of those games, Tom, yesterday where it makes you think that, well, I'm not going to say that they're the writing's on the wall for them to get promoted, but it feels like the what's the way of putting it? It feels like we're going to be in the playoffs at the end of the season. I couldn't get my words out there, but you know what I was trying to say. It felt like the stars were aligning. There we go, for us to get into the playoffs. We were nowhere in that game against. We had no right to win that game against Gillingham. We were awful for the best part of 70 minutes, and Gillingham, before they went 2-0 up, should have gone 2-0. You know, it should have even maybe been 3-0 up at the time they got that second goal. They were very much the better side, very much the side that dictated the play in that game, and somehow Oxford found a way to win in the last 15-20 minutes from 2 goals down. Great goal from Sam Winnell. 2 goals from the hero himself, Sam Long. You can see our review of that game on the channel, but it is 3 wins in a row. I did say that if Oxford did win after the Accrington game where we all thought it was season over, I said if Oxford can win the next 3 games, I would reassess my thoughts of the playoffs. And all I can say is, if Oxford win out from here, I think they're going to do it.
Yeah. I mean, Oxford. Do you know Oxford are the 3rd highest scorers in the league this season? They've got 66 goals. The problem is they're leaky as shit in defence, and it's cost them in so many games. Wimbledon have been fantastic ending the year. They picked up 9 points from available 9 for the last 3 games, which means they look safe. They're 5 points clear of relegation. Fantastic recent matches, as you said. I think Oxford can win this. I'm going to let you go first.
I mean, obviously, Oxford will be confident going into this, but Wimbledon will be confident as well. As I said, they've had 3 good wins, a 4-1 win against the side that shall not be named, but they got goal scorers. They got Joe Piggott, and they got this young lad called Asal, who's supposed to be incredibly skillful, dynamic player. And what I've seen of him so far, he looks a real handful. So it isn't going to be easy. The games we have played against Wimbledon never seem to be easy, and Oxford will have to do their fair share of defending well in this game if they're going to come out on top. I think I'm going to see another crazy game here. I think we're going to see a lot of goals, and we're going to see I think we might see another Oxford squeaking a high-scoring game. I'm going to go for Wimbledon 2, Oxford 3.
Interesting. I'm going for Wimbledon 2, Oxford 4. I think this game's going to be nuts. You don't know where the goals are coming from with Oxford. That's the only thing about them. It's not Taylor, right? And if it's not Taylor, but everyone is suddenly chipping in, which is something we were asked that mid-section where they couldn't win a game. It was just like midfielders have to score. Oh, shit, midfielders. Oh, defenders. And everyone is chipping in with goals right now. And it's such a great result against Gillingham. Like, such a great momentum builder.
It worries me if it's not an open game. Oxford really struggle if the other side comes and doesn't want to play openly. Oxford really struggle, and they almost like they don't know how to play against it. They tried to play long balls and stuff like that. It doesn't really work for them. But I do give Carl Robinson credit as well for changing it. He did change it and throw Dan Adji on and throw Sam Winnell on, and that did make a difference to the way we attacked.
Finally, there were 3 strikers on the pitch at once, and all of a sudden goals.
Yeah, well, I mean, better late than never, but I give him credit. He did do it, and Oxford did turn it around. So, as you can imagine, we're absolutely buzzing. Oxford fans all around the globe are going crazy, and hopefully it will continue against Wimbledon on Tuesday.
All that's left to do is for me to thank you all for being on here. Please smash the like button if you haven't already. Hit subscribe. Comment below with all your predictions and what you think of us. Are we right? Are we wrong? Did we get something wrong about your club? Let us know. We will be back in like 2 days with more predictions because the League One does not stop giving. In the meantime, check us out. Check Grandstand Bettors out. Win yourself some money, and we will see you again in a couple days.